I think it's only fair that we start by asking, how did you originally get into snooker and what drove you to the level that you became at?
Well, I first had a game of snooker. I was only 8 or 9 years of age. It was back in Northern Ireland in a very small town called Coal Island, where I lived, and I happened to be passing the club that was right next to the police station, and the door was open, and I glanced through the door and I could see this green cloth with loads of coloured balls on the table, and I thought, that looks a bit interesting, and I had a little look, and it was 2 tables just in a club with no alcohol or no membership, just an owner who let people come in. There was no membership, they just went in and played. And I was allowed to go in and sit and watch the grown-ups play, and I used to be very quiet and hold the rest, and if they needed the rest I would hand them the rest. Did that for quite a while, and then eventually they let me have a go on the table, and I needed a lemonade box that they used to bring the lemonade in, so I had it under the table so I could pull it out, stand on it, reach the table and play a few shots. So that's really where it all started when I was only 8 or 9, and I carried on playing then until eventually I moved to England when I was 17. But at 14, in the town and surrounding area, I got to be probably the best at billiards and snooker, and we had a good team there that used to play league matches. So we had a team, although having said that, the highest break was a break of, I think it was 64, 65. We'd never seen anybody make a break above that. So although I played to quite a good standard, I didn't really improve in the game until I moved to England when I was 17.
Do you think that the move to England developed your game to where it became, or would you have got to that level, do you think, in Ireland, Northern Ireland?
Well, I'd got to quite a high standard, but when I moved to England at 17, it was purely to work. I went over instead I had 4 aunts that lived near Blackburn, Darwin, and I went over to work, stayed with one of my aunts, and went down to the local snooker club and found out I was as good as some of the top amateurs there. So I bought myself a cue and started practicing more, but did a variety of jobs. I think one of the first jobs I had when I was 17 was working 12-hour shifts in a paper mill 7 days a week to earn a few quid. So I did that for a couple of years to earn some money, and then how I ever got time to practice, but I did. I'd work from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening, come home, have a bit of tea, get on the bus and go down into Blackburn, which was about 4 miles away, and practice 3 or 4 nights a week. So my aunt used to say, you're going to kill yourself, working hard like that and then playing snooker. And we often used to joke about it. She said, I wouldn't mind if you were going to make anything out of the snooker. So it did pay off. But after that job, I took a job in an office, because obviously I didn't want to do any manual work with playing snooker. And then I worked in a shop selling domestic appliances. And then my final job before turning professional was managing a snooker club in Preston called the Elite Snooker Club. Funny enough, I was playing an exhibition the other night and I was reading out the players that I was playing. In fact, I wasn't playing, Jimmy White was playing. I was doing the trick shots and comparing. And I read this out, one of the players who was the deaf world champion, believe it or not, and his club was the Elite Club in Preston. And he was from Blackburn. So I was from Blackburn and I used to manage the Elite Club in Preston. So what a coincidence that was. But the club had moved, because the one that I managed, it's long gone, but they still carried on the name. So I took a job there and I had 1 week on, 1 week off, and I was able to practice while I was working for the week. And then if I got any tournaments to play, and I did it the week I had off.
When you were practicing, were you visualising or having a goal in mind as to get to a professional level at that stage, or were you just practicing because you loved the game?
Just practicing because I loved the game, but I was improving so much. I mean, and I was very fortunate while I was doing those jobs, and in my early days, I think when I was 18, 19, I used to get invited to play John Spencer, who was a world amateur champion. And then he turned professional, I think it was around 1969. And he played for the local paper, The Telegraph. And they used to have a competition called Find a Champion. And he'd go around playing different clubs. and they'd pick 2 players from each night to go into a big competition. But I got invited to go and play him maybe 1 frame or 2 frames exhibition. So that was a great help to me and improved my game. And in fact, in the end, it was John Spencer that helped to turn, me to turn professional. He proposed me, and then at the time when I turned professional, there was only 16 professionals in the world. There was 15, and I made up 16, and that was back in 1972, believe it or not.